Hello everyone! This is a project by Samantha Alicia Balidalai and Dr. Malor Yunus. This is our research, journaling to improve motivation and descriptive writing among primary school ESL pupils. Belinda and I are so excited to present our findings. Now let's get started.
Our study is aimed to determine whether journaling techniques help in enhancing the motivations in writing skills among ESL learners. The study involved 20 students from 2 primary schools in Malaysia. 10 students were from an urban school in Johor Bahru, and 10 students were from a rural school in Baram, Sarawak. The finding revealed that journaling has positive impacts in improving motivations in writing skills among ESL learners. This study shows variability of journalings, and it should be practiced in the classroom by educators to help in improving ESL learners' motivations in writing. Writing skill is important to students' academic success. ESL learners need to have good competency in writing skill to help them to be successful to further higher education as well as getting a job in the future. In Malaysia, writing is mentioned as one of the hardest skills to master among ESL learners. ESL learners are encountering difficulties when coming to writing activities. 3 common problems were identified among Year 6 students. First, they struggle to develop descriptive writing due to lack of motivation. Second, they are unable to express feelings and thoughts in writing. Third, they fail to structure ideas effectively in writing. Our research purpose is to explore the journaling technique in enhancing primary school ESL pupils' motivation in descriptive writing. Our objective is to explore the journaling technique in improving second language learners' motivation in writing. And our question is, how does journaling help in improving motivations in descriptive writings among ESL pupils? In this study, we will review on these 4 aspects: descriptive writing skill, the art of journaling, scaffolding theory, and motivation in writing. Writing skills are categorized into 4 main types, namely narrative, exploratory, descriptive, and possessive. Descriptive is one of the most basic forms in writing. It focuses on what the writer perceives through their 5 senses and tries to communicate that to the reader. When students are familiar with the concept of descriptive writing, they will be able to practice more with writing activity, and this will help them to improve their writing skill in time. According to Walker 2006, journaling helps students to grasp and process information. According to Bird 2009, journaling helps students to express their thoughts and feelings through writing. It also motivates the student to take charge in their learning. Journaling also helps students to develop the love for writing as it offers room for creativity and self-expressions. According to Allens and Enns, 1987, there are 3 types of journaling technique. The first technique is flow writing. In this technique, teacher can guide students to start with the words. This technique is described as hands-to-mind process. This is where the students start to brainstorm using the elements and start to write by describing the elements. The second technique is maps of consciousness. This technique involves unstructured drawing or maps by students themselves. It also helps them to express themselves in writing. The third technique is guided imagery. Students can use pictures as stimulus for writing in this technique. Scaffolding instruction was used in this journaling technique. According to Trump and Gallimore 1988, a 4-stage module of ZPD to show how children develop language in writing. There are 4 stages. At the first stage, students need to understand the objective of the task. At this stage, Teacher need to give guidance and assistance to the students. At the second stage, students carry out a task without assistance. At this stage, students can do the task by themselves. At the third stage, students left the zone of proximal development. At this stage, students can write a piece of writing successfully. At the fourth stage, this is the stage where the student became independent in their learning. They can repeat the same concept of writing over time and improve themselves in time. Next, we move on to motivation in writing. Motivation is important for students to improve in language learning. They need tools to be motivated, and journals play its roles here. 20 students were involved in this study. They are 12 years old, advanced and average students. These are the instruments for our research. We have journal entries, observations, and interview. This research was done in 8 weeks. For the first and second week, students were guided by competent others. For the rest of the week, they will have to write by themselves. For the first week, they need to write 2 journal entries. For the second week, they also need to write 2 journal entries. These 4 journal entries were guided. The rest were done independently. Observations were done 3 times: pre, during, and post. For pre, the observation were taken on the first and second journal entry. For during, the observation were taken on the 5th journal entry. For post, the observation were taken on the last journal entries. Interviews were done after they have completed the last journal entry. Data were analyzed through document analysis, observation, and interviews.
Now, let us move on to findings and discussion. Our finding was fundamentally heuristic and qualitative in nature. So this is to capture how human situations and experiences and also their behavior in constructing realities. So our findings was rather intriguing. We have triangulated our data, and what we found was interesting. So from document analysis, we found 2 key aspects. The first one is exploration and discovery. Through exploring and the aspect of discovery, students, they develop motivation in descriptive writing. And journaling, it promotes autonomy in these students. So it gives them the feels that they are in control of their own learning through scaffolding. Now let's move on to observation. So what we have found, we found that journaling, it becomes a medium for the students to implement intrinsic motivation in them. And we also found that scaffolding in journaling, it gives them a sense of assurance that they are improving in each entry. And this assurance, it motivates these students to keep writing. Next one is interview. So from the interview, we receive positive feedbacks. So the students feel that the creation and the presence of stimulus, it supports them in their journal writing. So these stimulus, they are from doodling, their own drawings, and also their pictures. So this motivates them to write more. And then last but not least, we also concluded that from the interviews, the students feel that scaffolding in journaling, it helped them to progress. Now, let us go deeper into document analysis. As I mentioned earlier, document analysis, we found that there are 2 key elements. The first one, journaling promotes autonomy and learning. Journaling, it promotes motivation. Thus, it was able to help these students to be willing to be involved in the process. In time, the students, they realize that they have autonomy and learning. This is from all the improvements that they have. Once they improve through every entries, that they will feel that they have control on their own learning. Not only that, journaling, it becomes a safe place for these students to express themselves because they realize that they are not graded, that this is not a competition. Rather, it becomes an outlet of self-expression. And the second element is that the element of exploration and discovery, the one that I mentioned earlier. So, as the student go on during this process, they would discover new language items. They would discover new language items to be used in their entries. This happens through the process of experiencing when they write, through the scaffolding process, when they have, through feedbacks, with their teacher. In time, they would improve not only in their motivation to write, but also in terms of their descriptive writing skills because they use these language items repeatedly. And the student would realize that they have ownership in the learning through the aspects of exploration and discovery. Now, let us look at these two samples. These are the samples from average students. Now, we all know that average students, they are reluctant to write. They are not confident to write because they are scared. They know those are graded. So when you ask students to write journals, you have to be clear that this is not graded, this is not a competition, because we don't want to scare them away. We don't want to scare them. We don't want them to be scared of writing activity. We want them to have fun. This is the most important aspect in journaling. And as you can see here, especially in the post product, in time, there are more sentences, more word counts. The journals even look livelier, they're decorated. So this is how you know that the students, they finally grasp the concept of journaling. So these students' responses to journaling as a learning tool, this support the purpose of our research, which is to improve motivation in descriptive writing. You can see here. So these are the samples from advanced students. As you can see here, from the pre and the post product, you can see more sentences, more word counts, and the journal entry, it's prettier, it's livelier, so they have finally grasped the meaning of journaling. Not only write, you can decorate, you can create your own stimulus, and it becomes an outlet of discovery where they are free to let their minds run wild and to become creative in their writing. Knowing how to write, but you are not motivated to write, that is a problem that we are trying to solve through journaling, which in time, when you learn more new language items that you can use in your entries, in time, through scaffolding and feedback, students will be better in their descriptive writing. Not only motivated, but will also be better. And for this advanced students, when they read their own journal entries, they will learn to evaluate the clarity and the coherence of their own writing. In time, this will give them space for improvements, especially during scaffolding. Now, let us go deeper into observation. We have decided to show you our field notes from pre and post journaling project with the advanced students. These advanced students, they were intrinsically motivated in nature. However, through journaling, in time, their journals became a medium for them to be better in writing. This is due to the aspects of journaling. Journaling, it creates intrinsic values within these students. Plus, with the freedom of expression journaling gave, they become motivated to write. In time, the students, they will realize that they have a sense of control in their writing. Plus, with the exploration within the writing process, this would make them want to write even more in their journal. In this slide, we've decided to show you our observation field notes with the average students, which we took when they write their 5th entry, which is during journaling project. So we have concluded that average students, they need proper scaffolding because this process, it gives them the sense of assurance that they are improving during this process. And in time, they will realize that through journaling, there's always room for mistakes, but there's always room for improvements as well. Now, let us look at some of the responses that we got from the interviews. And we've got positive feedbacks from the students on journaling. Yes, we want the students to not be scared when it comes to writing activities. We want them to be motivated in descriptive writing. And we've done that through journaling. Yes. So what we've concluded that the students, they feel that journaling, it does help them to progress. This is due to the aspects of journaling where they can create their own stimulus. They can use their own doodles, they can use their own drawings or bring their own pictures to motivate them to write. And these aspects of journaling, it helps them to progress. Plus with the scaffolding, in time, they will be better. Therefore, from our research, we have concluded that journaling promotes motivation and descriptive writing skill, and it also enhances students' involvement in writing. Thus, it will result in students having ownership of their own learning. Journals also become a valuable space for students' voices, where they can show their creativity and their talent. Also, journaling through the aspect of exploration, which leads to discovery of new language item, and in time, when they use it repeatedly, this would, in order to produce one of their own, this would eventually lead in improvement in writing skills. Lastly, through proper scaffolding in journaling, this would lead to progression in descriptive writing. So journaling rocks. Journaling does improve students' motivation in descriptive writing. This is a technique worth diving into. My partner, Belinda, and I, we feel that as educators, we need to test a widely reviewed technique such as journaling to assist our students so that they'll be able to be motivated and to write better. And in time, we will be able to produce learners with good writing skills, such as through journaling. If you feel demotivated to write, if you feel you are resistant in writing, if you feel that writing is so hard, it's so hard for you to describe something, journaling is the answer. Thank you.